This is the story of Auld the albino kobold. This story isn't like most you've heard, but then Auld's not like most of the kobolds you might have seen either. Auld's life, you might say, started with a bit of luck, or you might say with a bit of misfortune. Most kobold babies that are born with any sort of defect are promptly eaten by their parents. However, even though Auld was albino and all white, his parents decided against eating him, fearful it might be poisonous. You might say that it was unpleasant for his parents to leave a newborn baby left alone, but it certainly trumped being eaten. Some have wondered how Auld ever survived growing up as an infant or a toddler by himself. Some say it was divine intervention. Some say it was his own advanced albino instincts. And some say it was because the author wanted the story to continue. However, growing up was far from easy for Auld. If not simply because he had to survive on his own, simply because he was teased and unaccepted by the kobold community. He was called names such as Flake, Easily Sunburned Freak, and Mayonnaise Boy, until finally he could take it no longer and left. Unfortunately, the outside world was just as cruel, and Auld found no sanctuary there. He tried fitting in with the albino orcs, but the orcs just did what all orcs do when they meet anyone who's different. They threw rocks and rotten food at him. So he tried fitting in with the albino dwarves, but the dwarves just did what all dwarves do when they meet anyone who's different. They threw empty ale mugs at him. So then he tried fitting in with the albino humans. But humans just did what all humans do when they meet anyone who's different. You're gay. Auld didn't fit in anywhere, it seemed. And he wondered why the world was so cruel. Which was, of course, on account of him being such a horrible freak of nature. But it was in his travels from place to place that Auld bumped into a dwarven priest. "Why so glum and downcast, lad?" the priest asked. "No one wants me around," Auld answered. "Well," the priest replied, "that's because you're a horrible freak of nature." Auld sighed and turned his head, went to leave. "Hold on there, lad. Now, not all of us care about that. You've got nowhere to go. Well, how about you stay with me in my abbey here? Just for a while, anyways," the priest offered in his very peculiar, unplaceable accent. Excited, Auld turned around and cried out, "Really? Do you mean it?" "Yes," the priest replied. "I don't even know your name," Auld said. "You can call me Father Proudhammer," the priest answered. "Father? Really? I've never had a father before." Well, it's a title, lad." I wouldn't read too much into it, if I were you. In fact, maybe you just ought to call me Bishop Proudhammer, to avoid confusion." Auld sighed again. "Well, I'm still grateful." But then Auld paused for a moment. "Wait a minute. You're not one of those priests that with the are you?" "First of all, the dwarven priest responded angrily. I'm offended. And second of all, do you think if I were, I would have any interest in an albino kobold? Fair enough, Auld replied, and went to live with Bishop Proudhammer. And thus ends the first part of our story of Auld the albino kobold. Auld! Albino kobold! Yeah.